and impact the masses.
In the podcast system, thought-provoking content is considered especially heinous. In Long Beach, California, the two men dedicated to discussing these topics are members of an elite squad known as the Doormen. These are their stories.
Hello. Welcome
How are
to the
ya?
newest episode of The Doormen. He is Evan. I am.
Actually, my full name is Evangelist. But
You
yeah,
ruined it.
call me Evan.
Ruined it. Ruined it.
Guys.
If you don't know my name, you haven't been listening, and you don't need to know
And
it.
boo you. Guys, welcome to a new episode. Wow, what a very different start.
Yeah,
Very different
a little
start
different.
from the usual. But hey, change is here. Change is coming. It's brand new year. Going into week 3?
No.
End of week 2?
Of the year?
Yeah.
It's January 12th.
It's end of week 2, going into week 3.
False.
Tell me about it.
Let's just move on amicably. Okay?
12 days
Uh-huh.
is 2 weeks.
No. 14 days is 2 weeks.
Well, and as I
It's fine.
said,
Numbers are hard.
as I
so-
said, end of week 2, going into week 3. Anyway, that's
Middle
what
of
we do here.
January, headed into March.
We'll agree to disagree. Let's do like a quick week recap. Oh, well, let me start my week recap.
Okay.
Let me start my week recap with this shirt that I'm wearing. I decided to put on, shout out to Karen, made us these great shirts. I don't know if you see, it says Messiah. I felt like I need Jesus. I
You bullied people. You bullied people.
I'm
and
not
you
a
were in the
bully.
wrong.
But I was in the wrong. I as a truck driver, going into these terminals, sometimes, when you deal with other truck drivers, you kind of lose your temper. And I did twice this week. And I was contemplating, actually I was just thinking about
You can paint it however you want. You bullied 2 people and you were
I
wrong.
was not a bully because obviously one of them said he wasn't scared of me. So
Yeah.
I'm not a bully.
Standing on the floor with you in the truck.
Right. Yeah. So I felt I need Jesus. So I wore my Messiah shirt, and I felt I was in the wrong. I was absolutely in the wrong both times. As I often do, I make mistakes, and then to compound on the mistakes that I had already made in the job itself, I lose my temper. Headed for other goals to compensate for the mistake I made. And then so I felt I needed Jesus. I blew up on 2 truck drivers this week, and I just felt like that's where I needed to be.
Bullied
So
2 people.
my apologies if ever you truck drivers recognize me on this podcast, and my apologies. I didn't mean to be such an asshole.
He didn't mean to
So-
be such a bully.
That was my week. What's going on in your world?
Normal work week. Nothing too far out of the ordinary, except when I had to turn my heater on for the first time this winter.
Oh,
And
shit.
man, it destroyed my allergies.
Yeah. As if that little cough didn't.
Yeah, the cough wasn't helping.
Yeah.
But if you notice, the cough is mostly non-existent. But yet,
I heard you cough a few times.
Yeah,
already.
but it's not like it was.
Okay.
Don't try to bully me into having bad health,
My
okay?
bad. Totally not trying to.
But the wall heaters in Long Beach, that's all I can say about that.
Well, especially because all of these buildings in Long Beach were built in the early
early 1700s, I think my building was built.
Early 20th century building.
Mine's one step above an Adobe building. It's pretty.
You've got ancient clay
Yes.
as plaster. In
I
your...
was throwing the trash the other day and I saw a cave drawing on the wall. It was weird. But the other thing about Long Beach, now I do enjoy Long Beach. I've enjoyed being a Long Beach resident these past few years of my life. But I will tell you, the amount of scumbaggery that happens in Long Beach is just, it's miserable. And it goes from all avenues of scumbaggery. A while ago, somebody broke into our truck.
Yeah.
Didn't take anything, just to be an absolute cocksmoker, just to break a window.
Yeah.
And steal my sunglasses. Prick.
And that was it. That's all they stole.
Yep. Well, yeah, mine and Shelby's sunglasses.
But they did break window.
Break a window.
Broke
yeah.
a window.
So that's $280 right there. The city of Long Beach, I feel, owes me. And then last week,
for the lack of policing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then last week, after we finished the episode, we were driving home, and I noticed something bizarre about the truck again.
Okay.
It was up on the curb, and I asked Shelby if she, maybe mistakenly parked on the curb. She said there's absolutely no way I would do that. So upon further inspection, I realized that somebody sideswiped the Suburban. Now, my first reaction was to go hunting for any car with any passenger side damage. But I composed myself because there are several people that depend on me not being in jail.
Yeah. I'd say so.
So I go outside. I proceed to turn into an accident investigation.
Sherlock Holmes.
A senior vet of the traffic collision investigation unit.
Yep.
And notice that there's a piece of a fender of a blue car. And then to my left, I see a Volkswagen emblem. And then in the middle of that, I see the tie rod of whatever car hit my Suburban. Now, you might ask yourself, was a lot of damage to the Suburban? No, because Chevy does it right.
Chevys are built
Yes.
to
America.
last.
America. But little to no damage on the Suburban other than the alignment was off. But the other car was fucked up, and I hope I never see you.
Hit and run
Yeah, you piece of shit.
in Long Beach.
God, that just has to be just a common occurrence.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And it drives me nuts that people, as shitty as it would be, I would leave a note. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey man, look, sorry, here's my number. Maybe I don't give them the right number, but at least I left a note. You know?
No. No apology.
No. But I mean, I would leave a note
What
saying,
if they would
here's
have
my
spray
information.
painted on your car and said,
Hey, I'll take it.
I'm sorry.
I'll take it because at least it was something. But this son of a motherless goat just hits and runs.
Bird Brown.
And I hope they got hurt. I know it's bad to say and bad to wish that, but I hope they feel it in at least the pocketbook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely know that is going to be the case because you found the tie rod.
Yeah.
You also found the emblem.
And I know it's a blue Volkswagen, and my mom's not going to like this, and neither is Shelby. But if I see a blue Volkswagen with passenger side front end damage, I don't care if Mother Teresa's driving it. She's getting yanked out and getting a stern talking to.
Stern talking to. Hey, at least that's all that's going to happen. A stern talking to. Hey, Volkswagen drivers out there,
Or
beware.
you know what I'll
He's
do?
coming.
I'll stick my truck driver on you, and he'll bully you.
All I do is give them a stern talking to.
That's all we need.
Right? It might have a motherfucker or attached to the top.
I'd settle for, hey, they didn't give me any information, but they shit their pants. I'd be like, okay, that's good.
Hey, we're not vindictive people, man.
No.
I would not say that we're vindictive. At least I ain't.
I can be.
Listen.
I definitely can be.
I might blow my top once in a blue fucking moon, and I only do it with truck drivers because Come on, we're all as a truck driver out there. You got to be an ass. And then so if I'm on the receiving end of someone being an ass, then I feel they've got
The need to reciprocate.
Yeah. It's it's truck driver relations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough love.
Yeah. Tough love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's where I am. So this week we decided to, because we occasionally, I want to say more than occasionally, we decide to be social commentators. We're amateur political commentators, amateur sports commentators. Well, we're definitely amateur all of those things. That's right true. Now.
Yes,
we're not
there's zero income. Nobody would call us professional.
But you know what?
We are professional talkers, though.
Yeah,
good talkers.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, I'd say our conversations here. I love them. Mm-hmm. We hope you love them.
Our 140 subscribers love them.
Hey, what growth?
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Remember? Well, to be fair, we've only been on YouTube for 1.
No, 2. We started.
So that hurts. Yeah, get busy, folks.
We started. I think we started January of 2022 on YouTube.
That's miserable.
I mean, you know what? Hey,
it's a good thing we have day jobs.
Right.
I'll tell you that right now.
Right. But you know what? In the defense of people who don't listen, who wants to hear 2 rambling older gentlemen?
The same people that watch any other fucking podcast.
Well, I mean, you usually people. Yeah, well,
we just have no star power yet.
Yeah,
But you wait.
We're stars in our book, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Legends.
You ain't gotta be a star, baby.
I mean, we drink Celsius and Black Rifle coffee.
To be in my hey, you know what? Celsius. I would love a sponsorship. Right? Well, imagine a year's supply.
I don't know where that is made, but I know this is American made. A veteran-owned company. Black Rifle Coffee.
Black Rifle Coffee.
Pick yourself up a can now.
Celsius is promoted at the Grit Cycle, where I am an avid participant.
Yes.
In grit cycling.
Well, this is pretty good, by the way.
So Grit Cycle, Celsius, and then Black Rifle Coffee.
They serve coffee and culture to people who love America.
We endorse you.
We also serve culture to people who love America.
Okay.
So one and the same. Before we get started, I want to say something about a certain talk show host, and I know you don't like us giving people cred or any time, but Jimmy Kimmel is an absolute piece of dog shit, and I can't stand him, and I hope his show gets canceled.
See, that's where we go wrong.
Why?
Right? Why do we have to react to the idiocy?
Oh, I'm glad you said. So, when these lists were coming out, right? Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show,
right.
And he said, "I can't wait for Jimmy Kimmel's name to be on the list." Jimmy Kimmel gets his
name was on the list.
His panties in a bunch
on the flight log.
Yes,
right.
Jimmy Kimmel gets his panties in a bunch, and immediately starts the "I'm going to sue you if you."
The flight log to Jeffrey Epstein's island, by the way.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. It wasn't the flight log to Disney World.
Sure.
Well, Disney World to him, maybe. I don't know. But so he says, he name calls Aaron Rodgers, gets all butthurt because Aaron Rodgers made a comment.
And I hear he's suing him.
Yeah. And then proceeds to go on his platform, his talk show, and starts to name call Ron DeSantis and make all these jokes about Ron DeSantis and Republicans and people who died in Florida of COVID because they're dumb and they voted for Trump. Like the hypocrisy and the level of again, scumbaggery that he promotes is disgusting. And Whoopi Goldberg too. She says that she's on a fake list.
Sure.
In an actual video where Michelle Obama's thanking Harvey Weinstein for a wonderful day, Sister Mary Clarence is sitting right in the fucking background, right in the shot. Harvey Weinstein promoted a day. Thank you, Harvey. We love Harvey. All this other bullshit, and we're expected to believe that you didn't visit Epstein's Island with Oprah.
Wait, what does Harvey Weinstein have to do with
The whole Me Too movement, and she's
no,
talking
but
about.
what does it have to do with her being on an Epstein Island list?
No, she said she was on a list of people who were okay with the sexual harassment, and she never said Epstein's list. She said she was on a made up list of people who were okay with this kind of behavior, and she said she wasn't. She doesn't go anywhere. She kind of alluded to maybe Epstein's Island.
Epstein's Island.
But she was in a room full of people who were on the list for Epstein's Island. So I don't believe that she's innocent in any of this. I think she's one of probably the most two-faced individuals you'll ever meet, and she's part of the problem of not being on the middle ground.
What a segue. What a segue. Well, okay. So, in this week we decided in our social commentary, because we are definitely amateur social commentators. We would decide. We've decided we're going to discuss where's the perfect place to be, right? Stephen often alludes to this pendulum swing. It's currently on the downturn from a far left trend.
Yeah.
And then so as it's coming down from the far left.
At the least at its apex, right?
At least. At the least. Well, as it comes back down, where is this perfect middle ground? Where should we be?
Yeah.
As a society? Where because again, if you think about a pendulum, it's swinging, it's on this upward trend, or I would even think of it's on this downward trend, because people are kind of opening their eyes to what this left is, what it truly has revealed itself to being, right? It's leading to this kind of like communist, socialist, kind of authoritarian.
Yeah. No accountability.
Right. It's an authoritarian umbrella that allows all of these people who are not willing to accept responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's kind of this umbrella giving permission for this generation to do as it pleases, right? So it's even enforcing trends. I wouldn't even say laws just yet, unless you consider these, these processes, systems that are promoting, all the things that it promotes. I mean, we can run down the transgenderism. We can run down
reassignment surgeries.
Yeah, but
abortions.
we can also share how it's kind of promoting this not trying.
Yeah.
People who just aren't willing to try.
Yeah.
I saw a clip the other day about a girl who released. She was commenting on all of these body positivity models. Mm-hmm. Right? And they weren't models. These guys were just obese people who were promoting body positivity, who had passed away.
Right.
From complications of, I assume, complications of obesity.
Oh, I thought you were going to say jogging or some sort of exercise cardio event.
No. So, but it's promoting this kind of like live free lifestyle. Right, it's live free, and then not only live free, but whatever the consequences of your live free, society is supposed to accept you, not only accept you, but praise you for your choices.
Mediocrity.
Well, mediocrity is a part of it, right? But it's this idea that you can do whatever you want, and society should accept you, and not only accept you, but praise you for whatever choices you've
Right.
made.
You know, it's a good example of that is that that one girl that I am Optimus Prime. That one girl.
What do they call her? They call her some crazy name.
Yeah.
But it's a transgender chick, right?
I don't know.
But she's big as hell.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I have no idea if it's a man or a woman.
I think it was a man.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
But the thing is
You've seen her on, like, I think the Whatever podcast, and you've seen her on some other...
Yeah, and she's... They... I don't want to be not inclusive, because, again, I'm not sure. They wear these, skimpy shirts and, these tight jeans and put themselves in situations...
I had a mental image.
Put yourself in situations where when people are honest, which we alluded to at the end of our last episode, when people have give you an honest reaction, your feelings get hurt, or all these Twitter warriors get involved with, stay strong, queen, you're beautiful. Now, you might be to some people. You're not to me, so I don't have to perpetuate that false narrative that makes you feel better about yourself. It's not my responsibility. I have a brain and the ability to make a choice, and I choose to think that you're not my type.
Sure.
Right? So these videos with this particular individual, I watched one the other night where, like, it was a line of guys, and the first guy was like, "Oh, hell no." But as it went further down the line, it was more answers.
So these were guys, let's clarify for our audience. These were guys who were told to rate her, or
Yes.
or was
would
it
you- would you-
No, they were blindfolded, huh? No.
These were guys that could see, and they had the no Stevie Wonders, but these were guys that could see them. And it was, as it went progressively down the line, you could see the people's brains trying to develop an answer that was more and more for her feelings. It went from hell no to I don't think so to all the way to unfortunately I like blondes. It's like, bro, you're so full of fucking shit. Why can't you just be honest? Like, I wouldn't date you because I don't find you attractive. Has nothing to do with the fact that you're this.
The fact that you get so
5
stirred,
pounds of Play-Doh in a 2-pound bag doesn't. It's different.
But the fact that you get so fired up about this is, I want to say, as I was telling you off air, it's a blessing and a curse that you get so emotional, right?
Yeah.
It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because there's a place for emotions, right? So emotions are meant to be our gasoline, our fuel towards something, right? So I often talk about going to spin class or just doing any type of physical fitness, physical exercise, right? You have to be driven. So that emotion serves as a drive toward whatever goal you're setting. For me, it's that physical, that strenuous physical
Exertion.
activity. Right. Mm-hmm. So the emotion would serve me well to drive me to seeing that thing through.
Right.
Right. But in that same way, if I were to just respond angrily at something that I see, that emotion could serve me a bad outcome. It could serve me something negative.
Point proven in your week's activities.
In my 2 blow-ups in the truck. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, right? I mean, I didn't physically assault anybody, but verbally, I was just an ass, right? And in my being an adult now, and a much more mature adult than the child I used to be, I kind of was able to reflect, and I was able to see how wrong I was. Thus, my Jesus, my Messiah shirt. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, our emotions are supposed to propel us towards the good, a great outcome, right? But then when we see things, right? See, our five senses are absolutely beneficial to enjoying this physical life or this physical existence, but it's also it also can serve as our downfall.
Sure.
Right? Because we observe things and we can react angrily or act in frustration, act in, whatever impulse that serves us terribly, or we can use that same drive, that same motivator to push us towards the better, right? And none of us, like every person on earth, is as flawed as they can be, right? I mean, we were talking about how the Cat Williams interview, he spoke on how T.D. Jakes participated in some crazy, crazy activities. I, for one, at one point would listen to T.D. Jakes as an inspiration. And when he spoke, I thought, wow, this is a man of God. Wow, he's got some great things to say.
Now what do you think?
Now I think he's a flawed man. I mean,
Sure.
What Cat Williams did was he had me focus on the potential flaws that this man has.
Right.
Right? So does that rob from his message? It kind of does, right? But the message itself, if you peel away who's telling it, the message itself is it remains the same, right? So again, I could use that emotion and drive to say, oh, that message makes no sense now, right? Or I can logically and rationally know that, hey, that message absolutely had its benefits or has its benefits.
Right.
But then the messenger obviously is flawed, as is every person on planet Earth.
Sure.
Right? But can Jimmy Kimmel, or did Jimmy Kimmel at one point make us laugh? Yeah. When he was on the Man Show, the dude made us laugh.
Another example of his hypocrisy.
Sure.
Painted his face black and was Karl Malone.
Karl Malone, right?
Has
My
balls
God.
to sit there,
Right.
and back certain movements that
Sure. So we all can decide, you know what, Jimmy Kimmel's an ass. Or we can decide Jimmy Kimmel is the same idiot / semi-comedian that he always was, and just leave it at that.
Right.
Right? Does it serve a purpose to get angry and frustrated at the flaws that we see in everyone?
Maybe not, but it makes me feel a little bit better to get angry.
Sure, it makes you feel better, but also understand that anger only leads to more situations that could potentially express itself in anger. Absolutely. Right? Because you're an angry, I call you Angry Bird. I mean, and that it's because the more you accept the anger, the more situations you're going to find out that will allow you to express that same thing.
I just feel like even to use the word injustice is probably not correct.
Okay.
But when there's some sort of injustice, it drives me up the fucking wall. Up the wall.
Sure.
And it's something as trivial as Jimmy Kimmel or somebody sideswiping my Suburban. It's I think it boils down to the fact that I have no control over the situation.
Sure.
And I cannot do anything in that situation to remedy that. And it drives me fucking crazy.
Now, is this controls issue that you have, could you say that, hey, that is a flaw?
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, so everything that we see in people, we can address, or we can express them as, or we can just comment on the idea that, hey, that person has a flaw. I'm able to observe that flaw, but I too have flaws.
Oh,
right?
by no stretch of the imagination do I think I'm flawless.
Yeah, right.
Close, but I'm not flawless.
But what is our point here with everything that we speak on? Understanding that everyone is flawed, right, should also lead us to believe that whatever it is that we're going to attain from this life, whatever it is that we're going to do in this life, we've got to understand that it's going to be our own steps, our own decision making that's going to allow us to achieve that, right? Like for this new generation to put all of this weight on everything around them to spotlight their failures.
Yeah.
Right? They failed, so it's the fault of the economy. It's the fault of my lack of parenting.
Right.
Or
the use of
lack
a crutch.
of parenting.
The use of a crutch.
I think we always allude back to this same point. And we kind of want to drive on this point constantly, right? Because the idea that we have to be able to see what it is we can potentially do to achieve this greatness that this life will allow us,
right, as
the participants.
Well, I'm sure you remember growing up as you got into high school,
Vividly.
the days of you becoming your own person.
I was an idiot.
Moving out, being an adult, having your own space, having your own stuff, being responsible for, like, those days are absolutely out the window. Like you have people that know they're or think, they don't know. They think they're going to be some sort of social media influencer. So they don't try anything
right
outside of their comfort zone. Right? They don't try anything outside of getting their own house. They're hoping that they become an influencer so they can get their own money and then get their own shit. But when it goes sideways, as you said, they have so many things to blame it on.
Right.
I didn't get enough views. I have trolls. I have haters. I have, oh, my dad left, or my mom was a drunk, or whatever the case may be. They use that as the reason why they're not successful human beings. And it's just their own stupid fucking
If
choices.
it were for the lack of views,
we'd have quit years ago.
Quit years ago.
Yeah.
But guess what? We don't give a fuck.
We're not quitters.
We're not quitters.
We're not doing this for clout.
Hey, we value the thought process, man.
Yeah.
We're going to put our thought process out there, regardless of who's listening.
Yeah, you don't like it? Change the fucking channel.
And many of you do.
Yeah, clearly.
But look, I mean, this is, we've stated many things, right? We do what we love to do. We absolutely try
This
to
is what
make.
we did for 15 years outside a bar.
Yeah.
We talked this shit all the time.
Yeah.
The same stuff.
Yeah. And, and then we had the occasional physical altercation. Occasional. Like
Yeah.
one a year. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there were years that
It was just enough to keep it coming back year after year.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, exactly. Initially, man, I've told you a few times on the podcast. Initially, we'd have one a month, then one every 3 months, and then one every 6 months, and then one a year. And then
My first bar that I worked at in Denver, there was a fight every night. And when I was young, 20, 21 years old, loved it.
Yeah. At 21,
then you wake up one day,
I was at the strip club.
25, and you're like, ugh, God, I gotta go to fucking work tonight. But then you're there, you're in the moment, and then it happens, and then you get a bloody lip or a black eye, or you break your wrist, or you get shanked in the back in a bar.
You're like, fuck yeah, dog.
And then you're like, yeah, I love it.
What a night.
And then the next day you wake up, you're like, oh, damn it, I'm sore.
What the hell happened, bro?
But, it is what it is. My choices.
Yep. I'd say so.
I can safely say where I'm at in my life right now is 100% based on every single choice I've made. Nobody else's fault. Nobody else's interference. 100% me. 100%.
But you know what? I will also tell you, right? You as our listeners, that wherever you would like to be, right? Wherever you would like to be, there's a potential that you can get there, but you're not going to be there divvying up the responsibility and throwing it at other people or at other situations. You have to accept it all. And then you have to understand that it's choices that you make that could lead you in whatever direction you're going. It's choices that you've made that brought you to the place that you currently stand.
Sitting in front of your computer, watching this podcast.
Sure. Or on your phone. But
Or on your TV.
But guess what? Because you're watching this podcast, it means that there was something said here that you need to hear.
Yeah.
Right? So, should I speak in present tense? There's something that we are saying that you need to hear.
Divine intervention.
You know what's funny? Is every time I went to church, that was the case. It was the preacher was saying something that it was exactly what I needed to hear at the time that I was there hearing it.
Right.
But I want to say, like, people don't give it enough credit, like this spiritual thing going on, right? You gravitate towards the people that you need to gravitate towards.
Right.
You know that, right?
Yes.
Like, I truly understand that everyone I encountered in my life was there for a purpose, was there for me to learn from, whether it be something to do or something not to do. They were there to either tell me the type of people I need to hang with or the type of people I don't need to be around, right? But everyone had a purpose. Everyone had a lesson to teach. Not everyone was there forever, right?
Right.
But the people who show themselves worthy of being there forever, hold on to them.
Right.
For sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. We're talking about the middle ground and we were. I don't know.
Well,
if
we still are.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that we've said is.
I was thinking about
middle
this the
ground.
other day. Like, there's a guy I follow on YouTube. It's called Retro 80s and 90s, and he brings up, like, old toys from when we were younger, certain things, commercials, music, just retro stuff from when we were younger. And when you think about it, like those days are so far gone that I've said this before. Your grandkids, my kids, are not gonna even understand what it was. Like, they're not gonna get it unless we fall into some sort of like internet blackout. They're never gonna understand.
In fairness, right? You allude to our childhood, right? You allude to the days that we were growing up, and in no way do I think that our era was free of its dilemmas. Our era was not free of its problems, right?
Sure.
Because I believe in our era was when, first off, like, what are those classes called? Like
Honors.
like wood shop.
Oh,
What were those things called? Like vocational classes.
Yes.
Those are beginning to be peeled away, right? And not that.
What's the last grade you took wood shop?
I think it was my freshman year. My freshman year.
Sounds about right. You're a little bit older than me. Mine was 7th grade.
Yeah. I think it was my freshman year. Nope. Yep, it was my freshman year. Freshman year was the last time I took a wood shop. But check it out. So, so in those days, the vocational schools, the classes were being taken out. But prior to that, prior to our era, and Stephen is a product of this era, right? There were men who knew how to build cars. Mm-hmm. There were men who knew how to repair their own cars, right? So in our era was the era that kind of ushered away this need to understand those skills, right? Building homes, right? And then so when we talk about a middle ground, I think the middle ground is a place where everyone has the abilities to thrive in whatever situation presented.
Right.
Right. Free from like authoritative interference whatsoever. Yeah. Whether the authorities involve huge corporations, whether the authorities involve government prying into every aspect of your life. That middle ground is a place that I believe that the founding fathers of this beautiful country of ours truly had in mind, right? They truly had this kind of a utopia of the individual choice. You can choose to do what you need to do, and you had the access to a place to do it. Right. So you can come in, earn your way into a plot of land, and then you can work that land or hire people to work on that land, or you had the ability to do what you needed to do in this space that you earned. Your merits allowed you access to a space, and of course, there are taxes to be paid. I guess. I mean, there is a need for federal government, right? There is a need for local government, and then so, you pay these taxes in hopes that you would see the benefits of your taxes.
Yeah.
In real life, not seeing your taxes shipped off to
Ukraine
or any place else that had nothing to do with you, right? And we hear about this idea that the U.S. is the big brother to the world. We have such a responsibility. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of. I'm not a super isolationist, because there has to be some type of relationship between us and neighboring countries. But I don't believe that we have to stick our noses everywhere. Right? I don't believe that our money should be going to fund other countries in any way.
What's funny, somebody asked me the other day, like, I brought this up, I think it was at work, about us being involved in everybody's fucking business.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, what would you do if you were in a grocery store and somebody was, assaulting a woman? I'm like, 1,000% I jump in. And they said, well, what's the difference? I said, the difference is after I'm done whooping his ass, it's over.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about any sort of outcome or fallout from that situation. It's done. It's ended. It's done. He's knocked out, and the cops are on their way. This sticking your nose in a foreign war that's going to cost billions of dollars and potentially lives of people, that's a completely different story. You don't need to be the big brother to everybody, because you can't fucking do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there has to be some type of a line. There has to be some type of a limit to what it is we do. Right. As a country. I mean, how about the limit be this? How about we're responsible for what's within our borders first, and once we get as close to perfection as we can possibly get within these borders. I mean, when I say perfection, I don't mean like we go and present one way of living and then every other way of living gets shitted on. Right. I'm not saying like, it's the Christian way or no way or any one religion. Yeah. It's this place was the middle ground is we want a place where everyone has a chance to thrive. Sure. Everyone has a chance to live. Go ahead, make your own choices, right? Right. But we don't expect everyone within these borders to accept you for your choice. Your choice is you're gonna have to live with the consequences of your choice. Correct. Right. So whatever it is you decide to do, right? Let's say you decide to be a God-fearing Christian. Hey, good for you, right? I love it.
Let's say that Joe decides to become Jane. Good on you, buddy. But sure. It's none of my fucking business.
None of our business. Right? Let's say you decide to be lesbian, gay, trans, whatever it is you want to be.
Unicorn?
Do it. But the relationships that you make as it goes with the Christian, the relationships that you make, you're going to have to earn the intensity of that relationship. You're going to have to earn the good outcome of that relationship. It's not promised to you, right? Just because a person is a Christian and he makes friends with other non-Christians, that Christian can't expect his non-Christian friends to automatically then praise him for being a Christian. Right.
And vice versa.
and vice versa. And then the lesbian, gay, and trans population, the same goes for you, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is that certain ideas have gained popularity.
Yeah.
Right? So
traction,
certain ideas,
if you will,
absolutely gain traction, right? And then other ideas haven't gained as much traction.
Yeah.
But you can't then say, "Oh, wait a minute, all ideas have to gain the same traction." That's just not going to happen, right? Just like just like male sports and female sports. Not everyone is going to watch female sports. Women don't even watch female sports.
Yeah.
Right? So, of course, because the attention isn't the same, then, of course, the earnings aren't going to be the same.
Yeah.
Just like we can't go and demand that because we have a YouTube channel and the Beast has a YouTube channel, we can't then demand, oh, man, we need to get billions of dollars, too,
right.
because, we have a YouTube channel, and then it doesn't work that way.
That is a perfect example of the equal pay for women's sports.
Sure.
I couldn't put it any better myself. That is the equivalent, like he said, of us going to somehow getting in contact with somebody at YouTube and saying, hey, we have a channel too, and we think it's only fair that we at least get what Mr. Beast gets.
Right.
Because it's
fucking foolish.
It's just, I mean, I hate to say it. In this example, we are the WNBA.
Yeah, we are below the WNBA.
I think they still might be below us. But the thing is that somebody broke it.
Hey, we are the D League of the WNBA as far as
somebody broke it down. They say they want
in comparison to Mr. Beast.
Yes.
Come on.
Somebody broke it down that the pay structure of LeBron James versus the highest paid WNBA player.
Oh wow!
And by their definition of what they want, to equal pay, they get paid more than LeBron James. Now, granted, not total, but percentage wise, and I'm a big sports guy, and I have a lot of jerseys and a lot of hats. I've never once seen a WNBA jersey in any store that I've worked at or shopped at. Never one time. I've never even seen a WNBA hat. Ever.
Yeah.
They're out there to buy online because they're not popular enough to be occupying shelf space in a store. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as a team that's a Major League Baseball team, like, let's say, the Pirates. Dog shit. They maybe have 2 or 3 hats in a store in Brea. But then the trend is to, wear the P hat for whatever it's going to stand for. Then they fly off the shelves, right? Because it's a trend.
Right.
Nobody knows what the fuck it means. Nobody knows what it is. But all of a sudden, you open a box at Lids when you're doing inventory, and there's 50 fucking Pittsburgh Pirate hats, and you're like, what? This team is garbage. But I'm ashamed that we're equating ourselves to the WNBA, but that I couldn't put it any better myself.
I mean,
that was
come on.
fantastic.
Exactly. I mean, we receive what it is we put in. And then so not only are we going to be having to put in so much to equate to some of these bigger names in the podcast world, but we're going to have to do so much more because we just lack some of maybe the resources, maybe the exposure, maybe definitely the notoriety. I mean, we were just 2 doormen standing in front of a door that came up with this idea. And so did we come in here expecting to just Joe Rogan all of a sudden? Nah. I mean, do we put in enough work in currently into the podcast that some of these people do? I have heard that about Mr. Beast's what that guy does for one podcast or for one episode of his podcast. Do we put in that work? Absolutely not. I mean, we come in sometimes just wing it.
Like now.
We'll get in front of the camera and we'll just wing it.
I'm not sure if you could tell, based on our structure that we've had before. But yeah, sometimes we're flying by the seat of our pants.
So yeah, we definitely understand. We definitely understand.
But also us not having the resources and the potential allies in the podcast field. Maybe that's, like Mr. Beast can have conversations that are so far away from our frame of mind because he's got all the resources, and if it's shit, he can still pay his team.
But in fairness, right? In fairness to Mr. Beast, which he's done a tremendous job. He's done fucking fantastic.
Oh, dude is a
work.
legend.
He's a legend.
Yes.
But I heard him in an interview, and the amount of sacrifice he put into getting things going,
right.
the amount of like thought and the amount of like planning he put into some of his episodes, it was mind-boggling.
Well, I'll tell you this. For those who don't know, when we started this on Spotify 4 years ago, Evan and I went to Guitar Center.
Yeah.
Asked somebody who worked there what we need to start a podcast. He gave us that piece of equipment right there and said, all I need is a computer and a phone. And this is where we sit. And 4 years later, this is where we sit. We have a producer.
Shout out to the producer.
And the thing is that, we don't do this for an income.
No.
Yet.
It's coming though. It's coming.
But we do this
Followers,
because
be ready. It's coming.
it's like on a recording day such as today. I always text him, recording tonight. Yep. And it's just a part of our week.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. And this might be a venting session for the week.
Absolutely.
For us, but I just want to give you a little insight. That's how we started. We've been talking about this for years before this. People told us we should record our conversations for years at the door. And if we would have listened, I think we'd be top of the world. But again, we made a choice to think that people were nuts to want to hear what we have to say.
Right.
But just think, 2017, we could have been.
Hey, we're here now.
Front of the podcast train.
We're here now. Hey, we're here now. Hey, but back to this middle ground discussion, right? It really is. The middle ground truly is you as an individual doing what it is you have to do in order to flourish in this life. What we've always promoted you have to tie into an inner circle. You as an individual are not an island, and islands don't do well. A person as an island, as an isolated individual, never fares too well without the participation of others. So there, whether it be a team that you form around you, and you nourish the relationship and rapport with each of your team members, or whether it's a family that you nurture relationships with, there must be an inner circle.
Yeah.
So you as an individual have a responsibility to yourself, forming this inner circle, and every move that you make from that center point to all the circles in proximity is going to allow you to be whatever it is you want.
Yep.
According to the work you decide to put in, according to the sacrifices you're willing to make. But you do not do yourself any justice not accepting the responsibility of the actions and decisions that you've chosen to make.
Yep.
Right? It just will never work in that way. So I
when we were younger, that wasn't acceptable. You couldn't blame anybody else but yourself.
Sure, right.
You couldn't say, "Oh, I didn't do my homework," or "I didn't do my book report because I was feeling like a frog that day, and frogs can't write." That like nowadays, that's acceptable for not turning in your homework.
Yeah.
I was feeling down. Are you fucking serious? It's a society of weaklings that we're promoting, and it's terrifying.
And then you
What's next?
always hear about the depression and the anxiety. Hey, these concepts might be real things, right? But you're dwelling on said conditions will do you no favors. It'll do you no good towards any goals that you set out for yourself, any objectives you may have. Dwelling on those conditions or potential obstacles in your life could never help you, could never serve you. So back to this middle ground. Just dwelling on hardships is not the way to go. You got to utilize those hardships as tools. Those obstacles are set there in order for you to get over them, get around them, rationalize some way through them. But you just can't allow them to stay in front of you while you stare at it and blame your shortcomings on said obstacles.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. Example, my wife and I, when we first moved in together, she did not believe, because it had never happened in her childhood, that we could own a home, right? And we argued. We would argue because I came from a household where my mom and dad, they bought their first home when my mother was 24. My mom was 24. It was 82. No, yep. My mom was 22, turning 23. Scratch that. She was 22 years old, turning 23. They bought their first home. They went on to buy another home 10 years later, right? And then so I'd always come from a place, and I get it. I understand. It was a benefit to me to have examples that did that, right? To buy a home. So being a homeowner was definitely something that was on my radar. My goal was, by the time I'm 30, I want to own a home. My 30th birthday came and left. I didn't own a home until 10 months into that year 30. Was it 10 months? Probably a little less than that. But it happened, right? Because my mind wouldn't allow me to accept anything else. And granted, I understand that having parents that set that example, it was inevitable. And I understand there are kids out there who didn't have it, like my wife. But the thing that she did was she nurtured a relationship with someone who knew that was possible. So, maybe that worked in her favor. And I'm not tooting my own horn. But my brother was the last of so there's 4 of us siblings, and my brother recently bought his home, right? So I say all that to say, whether it was 15 years ago, going on 16 years ago, like my wife and I purchased this home, or whether it's today, buying a home is possible if your mind is keyed into that possibility.
Well, anything is possible
when your mind is keyed into that responsibility. Will we become millionaires on podcast?
Yep.
Fuck yeah, we're gonna become millionaires doing this podcast, right? So
we might be 70, but we'll be millionaires.
we're coming, dog.
Yeah.
Anyway, but anything that you set your mind toward, it's going to happen. You can't divvy up, or you can't piece out responsibility to other people. You've got to be accountable for everything that you decide to do and the decisions that you're going to make towards that, right? You have to accept it. That's just the bottom line.
Right.
So middle ground, that's where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Pendulum can't swing left. Well, it is. It's already swung left and it's coming back down. But from that left to this middle ground, focus on it.
If there somehow could be a stop just to the right of the middle and the pendulum would stop, I think we might just be in a little bit better position as a society.
Yeah.
Because it's right now it's just going to the dogs.
Yeah, and I don't want it to swing too far to the right either, because
Right, because what's the opposite of what it is now?
right, then you've got total. I don't know. You've got the elites. You know,
Tyranny.
Either way, there's this elite group out there that's doing their thing, and we don't. This is the middle ground, right? We can't focus on left or the right. You've got to focus on what you can do and how you can do it, because it's possible. And America is probably, or it absolutely is the best country for your middle ground, for your perfection to happen, right? Currently, but any more of this craziness, we're gonna have to fight in some type of a war, whether it be civil or World War III or something, because of this, right? Because of this nuts.
And when you think
Nutty
about
behavior.
it, the people that would be gearing up for said war,
Yeah.
I don't know, might get their feelings hurt if somebody yells at them at boot camp. Might get their feathers all ruffled up if somebody shoots a bullet near them.
Yeah.
God only knows.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. This generation, I hope you're geared up, guys, because there's hardships coming, and you got to be ready for them, dude. And you can't blame it.
That's what I try to tell the kids, and I know they're younger, and it's probably too deep of a conversation to have, but I don't know another way to tell them that life's gonna kick you in the nuts.
Yeah.
It's gonna. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. You can try to make the best decisions to avoid the pain, but you will be let down, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and move yourself on. You can't dwell in it. You can't hide behind something. You can't put somebody else's reasoning in front of your decision making. And it was again, when I was younger, fed to me that you want to work at McDonald's, or do you want to get a job when you're out of high school, a good job? That's what made me think, like, and maybe it was vanity or ego. I didn't want to be working at McDonald's and have anybody I knew from school come in working behind the counter. And that was enough motivation for me to at least, get my head out of the sand and get to work. And, you graduate high school, you get your diploma, you move on. And there could have been decisions along the way that I refused to take for whatever reason. But again, my decisions. I didn't join the military because I didn't do it. It has nobody else's fault but mine. I didn't, become a baseball player because I didn't have the work ethic enough to be it. And it's my fault. But I'm here now, and I'm going to be a podcast legend, and that's how it is.
That's what's up. You know what? And we're going to wrap it up with this. And I hope I don't fuck this saying up too much, right? But I think it was Bruce Lee. I'm not sure who somebody said it. And I'm not sure these were the exact words he said. But he said, don't wish for an easy life, but wish for the strength to overcome a difficult one.
Ooh, deep. Move like water.
And with that, we're going to leave you.